Let's dive into your 5th grade Abeka study guide for language semester exam 6. Commas, the brief pauses in our sentences, can make a world of difference. Let's test your skills. Let's jump into our first sentence. On January 18, 2009, my best friend moved to Red Oak, Iowa with her parents and brothers. Now, take a moment to think about where the commas should go. Ready for the next one? Kristen did her homework, set the table, and fed the dog. Think about the commas in this list. Here's another one for you. Well, I'm sure that you did your best one. Consider how the commas can change the tone of this sentence. Moving on to Michael studied his spelling words and I worked on my map of Asia. Think about how commas are used to separate two independent clauses. Next, today we ran laps, did exercises, and played softball. This sentence is another great example of a list. Here's one with a bit of a twist. Yes, Nicholas, your red, white, and blue shirt will be very appropriate for our history skit. Notice how commas are used not just in lists, but also to address someone directly. Now let's examine the old rocking chair on the porch made sad, mournful creaks as it rocked in the evening breezes. And think about how commas are used to separate adjectives. Finally, the harvest truly is plenteous, but the laborers are few. This sentence is a great example of how commas can be used in conjunction with conjunctions. Well done, you've taken the first step towards mastering the art of comma placement. Moving on, let's dive into the world of sentences. Fragments, run-ons, and complete sentences. Can you tell them apart? First up, we have a phrase that reads, standing in the rain at the football game. Now, is that a fragment, a run-on, or a complete sentence? Take a moment to decide. Next, we have, because she got a high grade on her book report. Again, is this a fragment, a run-on, or a complete sentence? Mull it over. Moving along, we encounter, John likes arithmetic, Cody likes history. What do you think? Fragment, run-on, or complete sentence? Give it some thought. Up next, pass your papers to the front. Classify this one, and remember to think it through. Stepping forward, we have, a crash helmet is part of a race car driver's equipment. A seatbelt is a necessary part of every driver's equipment. Fragment, run-on, or complete sentence. Ponder on that. Finally, we have, the computer whiz made a new program. Take a moment to classify this one. All right, that's it for our sentence identification. Now, remember, if you identified any of these as run-on sentences, it's time to correct them. This means you'll have to add the right punctuation to make them grammatically correct. Here's a tip. Run-on sentences are two or more independent clauses that are incorrectly joined. To correct them, you can separate the clauses with a period, join them with a coordinating conjunction, or use a semicolon. So take a minute to revisit the sentences you identified as run-ons and add the necessary punctuation to correct them. Great work! Identifying and correcting sentence errors is a crucial skill in writing. It helps you communicate your thoughts clearly and effectively, ensuring that your reader understands exactly what you mean. Remember, practice makes perfect, so keep working on these skills, and soon enough, you'll be a pro at spotting and correcting sentence errors. Now, let's explore possessives. They show ownership and can sometimes be tricky. Ready to give it a shot? First up, let's tackle the word in parentheses. We need to transform it into a possessive form to complete the sentence. Here's the first one. James, is this house? Next, we have baby. The nursery worker changed all the diapers. Imagine a nursery full of babies. Whose diapers do you think we're talking about? The third one is a bit tricky. Man, the coats were in one room and the ladies' coats were in another. Think about a party where everyone leaves their coats in different rooms. Fourth on the list, teacher. The 5th grade classrooms are very attractive. Envision a school where every teacher has a classroom. Last in this section, puppy. My house is in the backyard. Picture a cute little puppy, maybe a golden retriever or a poodle. Where does it live? Moving on to the next section, more possessives. Here we have a chart to complete. The words are woman, friend, and boss. We need to fill in the singular possessive, plural, and plural possessive forms for each of these words. For woman, Write down what the singular possessive is. Write down what the plural is. Write down what the and the plural possessive is. For friend, write down what the singular possessive is. Write down what the plural is, and write down what the plural possessive is. For boss, the singular possessive is, write down what the plural is, and write down what the plural possessive is. Remember, possessive forms indicate ownership or a type of relationship between different entities. The singular possessive usually ends with an apostrophe followed by an S, while the plural possessive often just ends with an apostrophe, but there can be exceptions. Fantastic! With practice, possessives will become second nature. Up next, we have the versatile and often misunderstood apostrophe. Let's see how well you can handle it. In this challenge, we're going to read some sentences that are missing their necessary apostrophes. I'll pause after each one, giving you time to fill in the blanks. Ready? Let's get started. Here's the first one. The students' desks are arranged in 5 rows. Take a moment to find where the apostrophe should go. Moving on to the next one. The students have memorized 3 of Henry Wadsworth Longfellow poems. There seems to be a semicolon where an apostrophe should be. Can you spot it? Third in line, we have Michael's last name has 3 M's in it. Now, where could that apostrophe possibly go? Lastly, consider this one. Shouldn't you be studying your Bible sets while you wait? A tricky one, isn't it? Remember, apostrophes can be used in different ways. They can show possession, as in the cat's toy, indicating that the toy belongs to the cat. They can also be used in contractions to replace omitted letters, as in don't for do not. It's important to note that while it's common to use an apostrophe to form plurals of single letters like mind your P's and Q's, it's not generally used to form plurals of words or numbers. Moreover, when dealing with singular possessive nouns ending in S, you have 2 options. You can use an apostrophe alone, as in James's house, or you can use an apostrophe followed by an S, as in James's house. Both are correct, but consistency is key. In the end, understanding the rules of apostrophe use can greatly improve your writing. It can make your sentences clearer and easier to read, and it can help you avoid common mistakes. Impressive! Remember, the apostrophe is a small mark that makes a big difference. Let's now turn our attention to underlining, colons, and hyphens. These punctuation marks may seem minor, but they play major roles. Our first sentence reads, at 1:05 each afternoon, the 5th graders have physical education class. Here, we want to check for the correct use of colons. Colons are used to introduce lists, explanations, or statements. In this sentence, the colon is correctly used to introduce the time. The next sentence is, the USS Ranger is in port. In this case, we're looking at underlining or italics. When referring to ships, we either underline or italicize the names. So, is the USS Ranger underlined or italicized? If not, we need to correct that. Moving on, we have, my favorite painting is The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci. Again, the title of a painting should be either underlined or italicized. Is that the case here? Our next sentence is, Psalm 91 is my favorite chapter in the Bible. In this case, we're focusing on underlining. The title of a book, such as the Bible, is usually underlined or italicized. However, individual chapters, verses, or books of the Bible are not. Is this sentence following that rule? Lastly, we have, on Apollo 11, the astronauts read Newsweek. Here, we're checking for both underlining and hyphens. Is this sentence following these guidelines? In each of these sentences, you're looking for whether the underlining, colon, and hyphen rules are followed. These punctuation marks add clarity to our writing, helping the reader understand our meaning. Well done! These punctuation marks may be small, but they contribute to clarity and precision in writing. Finally, let's review some commonly confused words. Remember, context is key. Let's dive right into it. All right, here we go. First up, Tyler and Adam have ate or eaten their lunch early. Think about which word makes sense. Pause the video and complete the rest of the section. I hope you've been able to fill in the blanks with the correct words. Remember, the context of the sentence is your best guide in choosing the right word. The next section will prompt you to write different types of sentences. Finish this section on your own. If you have finished the last section, you're done. Excellent job. Remember, mastering punctuation doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey of continuous learning and practice. So, take the lessons from today's session and apply them in your daily writing. Every sentence you write is an opportunity to improve. Keep practicing, keep improving. You're on your way to becoming a punctuation pro.